What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Coffee with Dudes. I am Matt. If this is your first time here, welcome. And Alex and I are both traveling this weekend. I just got back home. I'm able to shoot this pod, and I wanted to share my experiences through this weekend traveling with family. And one of the things that I've been challenged with as of recently is battling like stress, worry, or anxiety. And this weekend, I was able to really kind of harness in, lock in, and stay focused on the things that truly matter to help alleviate some of that stress, worry, anxiety. If you've ever felt like just kind of, a heavy weight on your shoulders, I want to share this experience that I had this weekend that kind of helped me through that and helped me. First of all, it should be a stress-free weekend anyways, right? But I still had to work. I still had to stay on top of things. I still had to try to stay in rhythm as best as I possibly can and answer to people. And I'm supposed to kind of be on vacation, but then also like, handling work stuff. So there's always that tug and pull that goes back and forth. And so I wanted to share something that helped with me significantly. And that is if you ever find yourself in that situation or scenario, I'm just sharing mine, but yours can be completely unique, is to remind yourself that all of this doesn't really matter. Right? I know easier said than done, but when you can remind yourself of that, of like these worldly things and take a second to step outside of the present moment and the current circumstance and situation, especially if you're attached emotionally, it can be really difficult because you're like, oh, I want to get this thing done. Oh, I got to respond to this person. Oh, I got to beat this deadline or this timeline or like whatever the thing is, right? And so we almost like self create this worry and anxiety and angst. And it's because partly because we want to do well and we want to be there, we want to show up for people, and that's at least the case for me, and I'm just speaking from my point of view here, and in hopes that it helps you guys. And so I care a lot, and so I want to be able to help people when needed, but then also be able to enjoy time with friends and family, etc. So I didn't take a full on PTO weekend, here. So Thursday, Friday, I'm still working, and that is enjoyable for me too. And so, the place where I feel the stress, worry, and anxiety portion is that I feel like I should be spending more time with the family. And the other part of me is like, well, you got to finish this work stuff first. And it's like this constant tug of war, pull back and forth. And that's just my particular scenario that I just experienced this weekend. And I'm sharing that because I want you or encourage you to think about what scenarios are you in where you're feeling something similar. And what helps me was, just reminding myself like, none of this stuff that I'm worried about actually matters. In the moment we think it does. In the moment we're just like, oh man, I need to complete this, or this person's going to be upset with me, or whatever the thing is. And if you look back and go, well, this isn't the first time I felt this or experienced this. When was the last time? And you can think back, like maybe it was a couple weeks ago, maybe it was months ago, maybe it was years ago, on a very like super stressful, anxiety filled situation or scenario. And guess what? You made it through, right? Like if you're here watching this video right now, chances are that you made it through successfully, and you're here watching this video now, just like I made it through this weekend, with some challenging scenarios like that are running in the background that are overwhelming my mind and taking up brain capacity. And it's only because we choose to let it. And so for me, it was a eye-opening weekend to just say like, hey, simple reminder that none of the stuff that I'm worried about actually matters in the grand scheme of things, you know? And so that just immediately was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And it was a great opportunity for me to kind of remind myself of like, hey, where's your mind at when the things when you're feeling those, overwhelmingly anxious, whatever you want to call it, where you just feel like this built up, like for me, I kind of feel it like in my chest, and I'm just like, oh man, sometimes I feel this like kind of wave come over me, and it's just like almost like a wave of panic maybe, or like, I don't know, uneasiness. I've never really felt that in the past, but uh, it wasn't a common theme. But I guess as I've started to age, it just has kind of reared its head within the last, I don't know, as of I would say more recently, and yeah, this weekend was just a good example. I was proud of myself for experiencing those and feeling the feelings, but also not letting it take over and not let it ruin my entire weekend, especially with family. And so, I say all that just to say, when you are in to share what helped me, and when you are in that similar scenario, it doesn't have to be obviously exactly like mine, but if you are feeling that feeling of like angst and anxiety and this buildup, and you're playing this tug of war, mentally, and you just feel this huge feeling of overwhelm. In that moment, take it as a sign to step back, take a couple deep breaths, and remind yourself that what I'm worried about right now, today, in this moment, actually doesn't even matter. And when you can do that, it's so much easier. It's freeing. It's lifting. It doesn't mean that we don't just flat out don't care and like don't complete the task or whatever it is, but you get to approach it with a different mentality. You get to have a sense of calmness, almost like that. If you see a veteran do something, they have like that cool calmness about them, right? And then it could be in anything. You ever see, like, I always like watching guys at the highest level, whatever sport, right? They have this cool calmness about them that they don't freak out. They act like they've been there before. And so that was what I was able to do, despite not experiencing that exact scenario, but reminding myself of like, oh yeah, it actually doesn't really matter. Those things that I'm worried about, the things I'm stressed about, everything's going to get taken care of. Like, things will, in matter of fact, things will take care of themselves. Oftentimes they do. And so just wanted to share that experience with you. This will be a short one. I wanted to make sure I documented it so that we had it at the forefront and I didn't waste that. And hopefully, in me sharing that with you guys could take that, run with it. Hopefully, you were able to find some golden nuggets with it. Share it with a friend, family member, somebody you feel like who needs to hear it, and could potentially benefit from me sharing my story. So hopefully, you guys are doing amazing. We'd love to hear from you, and we will catch you guys on the next one.